Hey guys, this is Luke again, and welcome back to another Ninjago video onto the channel today. Now, this was inspired by a post from the Instagram account of MercFusion18. So shout out to MercFusion18 for this video. What he did, at least I think Merc is a he. I don't want to assume genders, okay? So Merc made some posts on Merc's Instagram, where Merc was talking about the Rotten Tomato scores of every installment of the show, not including Dark Island Trilogy, and he hasn't included Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu. Merc hasn't included Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu because I think that was before Merc even saw it. So I'm gonna do audience score, because if you want my critics score on my Rotten Tomatoes critics score, it's on my Instagram as well. So you could just follow me on my Instagram account. You could just go to my YouTube channel, and there's an Instagram icon, which is that pink and yellow looking camera. That's where my Instagram is. So you could go to my Instagram, and there you go. Anyways, let's start with the pilots. Now the pilots was a nice little, and this is basically, these are from how I see the community like them. The pilots were the start of Ninjago as a whole, and from how I see it, I have not seen any hate towards the pilots. I've seen some things where they said, "Oh, I wish it could have been longer," but I haven't seen any directed hate towards it. But not many people I saw do comment on it, so it wouldn't be fair to give it a super high score. But I will say that from how I see things, the Rotten Tomatoes score for the pilots is around an 87. Around an 87 out of 100. 87%. Now we're on to Season 1. This season defines Ninjago, and pretty much everyone from how I saw it agrees. They love it. I've seen some comments that say it's overrated, but not very many. But I will say this. Okay. The audience score for Season 1, from how I see it, is around a 90. It's around a 90%. Season 2, yes, people do get irked by the filler, but the latter half of the season is what goes up. It went from 1 to 11 that fast, and people like this. So I would say the Rotten Tomatoes score for Season 2 audience is around, I think an 84. Now we go into Rebooted. Rebooted does get hate because people say, "Oh, the technology is just for show and the pacing is just off," which some parts of the complaints I do agree, and the love triangle thing was complete stupidity. But overall, from how I see things, it's very beloved. It's very beloved, and it's a beloved season. And while there is some hate towards it, expect some hate towards some beloved seasons in this list. So for Rebooted, I decided to give a Rotten Tomatoes score of around 79. Around a 79. Oh, and I almost forgot. Fresh means 60% or above. Rotten is 59% or below. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that at the start of the video. I'm very sorry. Red is fresh, green is rotten. Just so you know. Alright? Then we go on to Tournament of Almas. This season, I've seen people say it's overrated, but that's all it really is overrated, not hated. I don't really, I've never, people say it's the best season of all time due to, you know, advancements in the lore, pretty much near perfect character balance, and a very well written story. While some of those may be debatable, you can't argue that this season is definitely one of the most popular, if not the most popular. And for these reasons, I'm gonna give Tournament of Elements a audience score of Rotten Tomatoes a 94. Now we go on to Possession. Possession is around the same level as Tournament of Elements, if not more, because there's even less people saying it's overrated or people hate it. I've seen even less people than there is with Tournament of Elements. And it was also released in the same sort of peak period that Tournament of Elements was also released in 2015. So for those reasons, I decided to give Possession an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes a 96. So, now we move on to Skybound. Uh-oh. Here's where the shit hits the fan. This season, and I'm gonna do something like this in a future video, could be said as the start of Ninjago's decline, with character moments that make no sense, characters that were just playing out dickheads to each other, and an infamous ending. I decided to give Ninjago Skybound a rotten rating of around, I think more people hate it than like it. But I will say it's around a 56. I think around a 56 out of 56%. Alright? Now we go on to Day of the Departed. If I was making this video back in 2016, obviously this would be a rotten rating. Now I'm not so much, because people are saying it's actually pretty good. I wish they could have been longer. They said they wish it could have been longer. They're actually opened up to it as it is. It's the same thing with the Ninjago movie. People say, on its own, it's great, but when you compare it to the other stuff in the series, it's nothing. So, back then, if it was back then when I made this video, it would obviously be rotten. Now, I would say that Day of the Departed is just barely gets into the fresh tier at a 60%. Now we go into Hands of Time. Now, Hands of Time is sort of mixed. Some people say it's bland, there's just something, the animation's not at its peak, obviously. The dialogue's pretty awful, and the villains were kinda awful. But then again, on my poll, if you actually see on my poll on Twitter, Hands of Time was actually voted the most underrated season in the entire show. So, I'm sort of split here. Do I think it's rotten? Do I think it's rotten, or do I think it's fresh? Well, to be fair, I don't really know. So I don't really know. So I might have to look back at this one. So I'll think about it for a second while I pause the video. So I decided that Hands of Time is gonna be almost fresh, but still somewhat rotten at a 59%. Now we move on to Sons of Garmadon. Now, as I said for Day of the Departed, if it was back then, it would be rotten. But now people are liking Sons of Garmadon and the Oni and Dragon trilogy as a whole for being one of the best things the show has to offer. And it proved that it can grow up with its audience. And I'm gonna make another video about the Oni and Dragon trilogy, don't worry. So, back then, I think it would have been rotten. Now, I don't think so. I would say Sons of Garmadon has a fresh rating, on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score, yeah, for the audience score that I gave for Season 8 is around 86%. Now we go into Hunted. Yes, I have seen some complaints of this season being overrated and how everyone treats it as the best thing ever to come from Ninjago. And a lot of people are also like, say it's very confusing with the whole double storyline thing, but it actually did deliver some great moments. So for those reasons, I will give Hunted a audience score of 92. Now we go on to Marchione. Marchione is a bit of a tricky case. Same thing with Hands of Time, because it's sort of split. Some people say it's a sort of a weak finish to the Oni and Dragon trilogy, while others said that it's actually pretty good for what it was. And it's sort of the case with the Lego Ninjago movie and Day of the Departed. On its own, it's pretty good, but compared to the rest of the series, it's somewhat criminal how, yeah. So for these reasons, I decided to give Marchione a slightly above fresh rating at around a 61. Now for Season 11. Yeah, from how I see things, 11 is dominantly hated. The only place I really see where people like Season 11 is on Instagram. If I'm on Twitter or on Discord, hate almost everywhere towards Season 11. So I decided to give a Rotten Tomato audience score for Season 11 at around the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes for Season 11, I'd give a 40%. Yeah, not many people like Season 11. But what will it be for Season 12? Well, I won't do a further update with videos. What I'm going to do for other ranking videos that I left it there, I'm actually going to update them in the comments section, into the comments. But that is, if the whole Kappa thing, doesn't happen, or at least doesn't happen in the way it's currently happening. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel by clicking that red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to see every video that I will upload. What are you guys' Rotten Tomato scores on the seasons? Let me know in the comments down below. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.